Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring exactly how the e-commerce landscape is drastically shifting this year. Remember when literally anyone with a decent internet connection could just throw up a generic storefront, find some cheap product overseas, and make a quick buck? Well, those days are fading fast. We're watching this entire space evolve, in real time, from a low-risk side hustle into a sophisticated, highly competitive, and totally brand-driven ecosystem. Look, if you're operating an online store right now, or even just kicking around the idea of starting one, you need to know that the rules of the game have completely changed.
Okay, so let's just dive right into the most pressing question, the one that's seriously worrying online sellers everywhere. Is dropshipping dead? Well, the short answer is no. But the old easy models, they are facing massive new challenges. The era of just sourcing blindly from overseas and raking in easy profits without building a real trustworthy brand, yeah, that's over. To survive today, we really have to rethink our entire strategy. To wrap our heads around the sheer gravity of this, just look at the projections for 2025. $370 billion. That's the global annual dropshipping market size. So the money is absolutely still there. The growth projections are massive. But how you actually capture a piece of that wealth, that's what requires a completely new playbook. Before we deconstruct this whole paradigm shift, let's just make sure we're totally clear on the baseline definition of how this model actually operates. Basically, you are the digital middleman. You curate, you market, and you sell. But somebody else does the heavy lifting. A third-party supplier holds the physical inventory and handles the fulfillment. This zero inventory model is exactly what makes it so incredibly attractive if you're just starting out. But, as we're going to see, it's also the exact source of its greatest vulnerabilities in today's market. Moving on to Section 1, Retail versus Dropshipping. Let's look at the core differences and the fundamental math behind these competing models. It's a classic trade-off, really. Dropshipping offers this remarkably low-risk entry. I mean, you can get started for as little as $500 because you have absolutely no inventory to manage. But the catch? Your profit margins are capped pretty tightly, usually between 10 and 30%, and you completely surrender control over shipping speeds. Now think about traditional retail. It demands heavy upfront capital. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars. You're tying up massive amounts of your cash in boxes just sitting in a warehouse hoping they sell. It's a huge risk for sure, but it rewards you with double the profit margins, sometimes pushing past 60%. Plus, you get full control over the brand experience. Section 2, the 2026 EU duty shock. This next shift is massive and represents an existential threat to sellers relying on high-volume, low-margin products. Let's trace how we got here. Back in 2024, a staggering 4.6 billion individual parcels entered the European Union, with the vast majority coming straight from China. Just try to picture that volume for a second. It's an absolute logistical tsunami for customs officials. So to level the playing field for local European retailers who simply cannot compete with subsidized overseas shipping, the EU stepped in. Starting in 2026, they are entirely phasing out their €150 customs duty exemption. In the past, those cheap little individual parcels just flew under the radar, totally duty-free. Now, every single package faces duties from the very first euro. So here's where it gets real. Your product selection will literally dictate your survival. These new duty rates are all over the place depending on the category. If you're selling electronics, like charging cables or phone cases, you're only looking at a super manageable 0 to 3% duty. But look at fashion and apparel, you're getting hit with up to 12%. Or footwear, up to 17%. When your business model relies on fighting for pennies on every single sale, taking a 17% hit to your bottom line is just an absolute margin killer. Let's bring this down to earth with some real math and see why the cheap t-shirt empire might be crumbling. Let's say you're importing a pair of wireless earbuds. Your total landed cost increases by about 30% once duties, import VAT, and handling fees are baked in. It's tough, right? But you can probably manage that by tweaking your prices a bit. Now look at a cheap fashion t-shirt. It suddenly costs 64% more to import. That completely wipes out the already razor-thin profit margins for low-ticket apparel. The old math literally just doesn't work anymore. Which brings us to Section 3, low-ticket versus high-ticket. With shipping and duty costs skyrocketing, operators are staring down a massive fork in the road. It all boils down to the fundamental physics of your business. Assuming a standard 30% margin across the board, you can either grind it out for a $9 profit on a cheap $30 item, or you can go big and secure a massive $240 profit on an $800 high-ticket item. These are two vastly different operational realities. To make a $3,000 monthly profit with those low-ticket items, you've got to manage the chaotic volume of over 330 individual orders. Imagine waking up to dozens of "Where's my package" emails every single morning, dealing with lost shipments and processing returns just to hit your baseline income. It is a massive customer service headache. On the flip side, hitting that exact same $3,000 profit with high-ticket dropshipping, that requires just 12 orders. But the stakes are way higher. You aren't just shipping cheap postal packets anymore. You're coordinating white glove, premium delivery for things like expensive furniture, handling complex freight logistics, and dealing with damage insurance. It's significantly less volume, but much, much higher pressure. Section 4. The hybrid retail approach. So, how exactly do you survive and thrive in this highly taxed, ultra-competitive new era? Honestly, the ultimate solution emerging right now is the hybrid approach. It literally gives you the best of both worlds. Step 1, you leverage the super low financial risk of dropshipping to test out dozens of products and gather real-world market data without buying a single piece of inventory. Step 2, once you find your top 5 to 10 absolute winners, you commit. You buy that inventory in bulk, bring it in-house, or use a local logistics center, and instantly push your margins up to 60%. And finally, step 3, you keep dropshipping complementary items alongside your core products. This keeps your catalog looking wide and attractive without taking on any extra inventory risk. You've also got to deploy some specific tactical maneuvers to protect your profitability. Think of these like your secret weapons. For instance, to bypass those messy new European customs bottlenecks, you can shift to fulfilling orders locally using EU-based warehouses. That drops your delivery times to just 3 to 7 days, which your customers will love. You should also be bundling products. Selling 3 items in one single transaction drastically reduces your shipping overhead. And crucially, you need to use AI store builders and automation. AI isn't just a trendy buzzword here. It is a vital tool to protect your time and those shrinking margins so you can test products incredibly fast. Section 5, the future of e-commerce. As we pull back and look at the broader industry landscape, one thing is abundantly clear. The get-rich-quick era is entirely over. Academic research from RSIS International actually tracks this evolution perfectly, confirming that dropshipping is maturing from a sketchy supply chain trick into a highly sophisticated digital commerce ecosystem. Survival today demands niche market strategies, genuinely ethical sourcing, predictive data analytics, and an unwavering focus on the post-purchase customer experience. Basically, you have to treat this like a real, sustainable business because that's exactly what it is. And hey, because physical logistics are getting so messy and expensive, we are seeing a massive boom in digital dropshipping. We're talking about selling digital products, software, ebooks, premium design templates, online courses. By totally sidestepping physical fulfillment, shipping delays, and customs duties, operators are locking in insane profit margins ranging from 70 to 90%. Compare that to the 10 to 30% we saw with physical goods. Plus, digital goods offer truly infinite scalability. Selling one copy takes the exact same logistical effort as selling 10,000 copies. 7-figure entrepreneur Cole Turner hit the nail on the head when he said, "The only way to be successful in dropshipping nowadays is to have a real identity as a brand. People have to trust you." This is the modern reality. Whether you're holding inventory locally, using overseas suppliers, or selling purely digital files, establishing a legitimate, trustworthy brand identity is literally the only way you'll retain customers. You just can't hide behind a generic, faceless storefront anymore. So the landscape has undoubtedly become more complex. But honestly, the opportunities for those willing to adapt are larger than ever. As you navigate these rising shipping costs, new tax paradigms, and shifting consumer expectations, you really need to ask yourself, are you just trying to build a fleeting side hustle? Or are you ready to invest the time to build the infrastructure of a resilient, brand-driven business? The dust is settling, and the choice of what you build next is entirely up to you.